Guten Morgen. Yeah, can one of you quickly summarize what is there on the screen?
So we learnt about how how the three genders and the plural form are written for different nouns, there we have learned the use of indefinite articles and definite articles as well. So basically, each noun in German has a gender associated with it, and we have to say it with the article each time we mention the noun.
Yeah, we have to learn it with the article. Okay, we did not say it with the article every time, but we have to definitely learn it with the article. See, each noun, even in English, has a gender. Okay, but in English, the genders are pretty obvious. I mean, the table and the chair and the wall and the ceiling don't have a gender in English. They are all neuter. Okay, but in German, the three genders are distributed in a manner that we cannot predict. Okay, so that is why it is important to learn when you learn a new noun, learn the gender of that noun along with it. So if, for example, if you learn the noun Buch for book, then learn it as das Buch. So you know it stays with you that it is neuter. If you learn the noun Kamera, then learn it as die Kamera. Okay, and laptop as der laptop. That is the main thing. Okay, so and everybody is clear about what is definite article and indefinite article? Yes or no? Yes. Is there anyone who has any doubt about what we mean by definite article and indefinite article? Since the genders are not predictable, so what else is there on the screen? Das ist ein Laptop, der Laptop ist neu, kostet 500 Euro. What is the role of over here?
It with the gender of the laptop.
Because the gender of the laptop we are using
Der.
Yeah, so will correspond to der. Okay, and similarly, das ist eine Kamera, die Kamera ist modern, sie kostet 100 Euro und das Buch heißt Netzwerk, es kostet 8 Euro. Distinction between noun and pronoun also is clear to all of us, that once we use a noun, then in the following speech or sentences we can replace the noun with a pronoun, okay, and use the pronoun. So the pronoun to be used in German will be in consonance with the gender of the noun. In English it is all it. This is a laptop, the laptop is new, it costs 500 euro. This is a camera, the camera is new, it costs 100 euro, and this is a book, the book is new and it costs 8 euros. All three will be it because all three are neuter. But in German, which pronoun we use will be determined by the gender of the noun. Okay. Das sind Bücher. Die Bücher heißen Netzwerk. Sie kosten 16 Euro. What's happening here?
We are writing it in plural forms.
Yeah.
And in plural form there are no genders. We don't specify the genders, and
A little louder.
in plural form we don't specify the genders.
In the gender distinction is there in the singular form. In the plural form, it's all kind of genderless. Okay.
And we use D and C in plural forms.
D and Z in the plural form. Yeah. Everything is D and what about Bücher? What about the word Bücher?
Bücher is the plural form of book.
Buch.
Buch.
Buch and Bücher. Okay. Buch and Bücher. That is one of the ways in which pronunciations will function. Yeah, we have das Buch, die Bücher. Please note the way the sound of CH will soften. If you have here, there is no umlaut, Buch, H. Here there is an umlaut, Bücher. Okay, Bücher. It's a combination of K and Sh, but Bücher is okay in day-to-day language, you can say debusher. Okay, this kind of a thing will happen very often. The sound of the ch, if the vowel gets an umlaut, then you also did the alphabet, no? Yesterday, so you have done the umlaut, yeah. So if a, o, or u get the umlaut, then the kh will get softened to kh and sh or sh. Yeah, Sie kosten 16 Euro. The laptops and the cameras, no? The cameras. Let me take instead of camera, I'll take die Lampe. Das ist die Lampe. Die Lampe is clear. The word is clear. Die Lampe. Yeah. Die Lampen. So these are the singular and plural. What can you observe? What is your observation about this thing we have done, that all of them in the plural, the specific genders are there only in the singular. In the plural itself, what else can you observe about?
There's no consistent way to form plurals.
Yeah, the plural is not formed in only one way. Okay, which is also actually the case in English. I mean, English also you have different ways of. I remember my grammar classes. We also used to learn certain specific ways of making the plural of nouns in English. Okay, but mostly it is in English adding an s. That's the most common way. That's why actually I don't know how many of you play Scrabble. Scrabble. How many of you like to play Scrabble? Late in a game of Scrabble, S is the most useful letter to get. If you get an S, you are sure to almost go on to win the game later on. Okay, very late in the end game, when you can simply add, you have a 8-letter word and then simply add an S somewhere to make the plural and get all the points. So, but as you're quite right, there is no one single way of making the plural. So, which means what was the inference for us when we saw that the gender is arbitrary? So, what did we say? What do we have to do? What do we have to do?
So we have to learn noun with articles.
We have to Mike has the point.
We have to learn noun with articles.
Yes, we have to learn noun with articles. Now we see that the plural is also not consistent, or not one single way of making the plural. Then
we have to learn the noun with the article and the plural.
You have to learn the noun with the article and the plural. When you come across a new noun, for example, if you come across the word das Buch for book, then it should go down in your head as das Buch die Bücher. Das Buch die Bücher. Die Lampe, die Lampen. Die Lampe, die Lampen. Der Laptop, die Laptops. Der Laptop, die Laptops. Any other noun that you have come across? Not in English. Tisch. Der Tisch. Der Tisch. Die Tische. In fact, it's a good example because it's again another way of making the plural. Der Tisch. Die Tische. Der Tisch, die Tische. Any other noun you've come across? Der Kuli. Der Kuli, die Kulis. Der Kuli, die Kulis. Like their laptop, die Laptops. Noch etwas? Handies. Like laptop. What is the Uhr? Watch. Henceforth, whenever I write a new noun for everybody, either on the smart board or on the smarter board, if I'll indicate the gender with either R, S or E. Okay, and not here I am writing it fully, der, das, there, die and so on. But if I write an E in front of the word Ur, it means it is die Ur. Okay, it's feminine gender. Okay, and plural we don't need to indicate because plural everything is die. So plural we don't need to indicate. So die Ur will become die Uren. Die Ur, die Uren. Ur, die Uren. Have you done the word for chair? Der Stuhl. Der Stuhl. Der Stuhl. It's almost like the way we use the word stool in English, but also one thing to note is this combination of letters ST. If it is in the beginning of a word, like what is the word for to study? Louder? Studieren, not studieren. So the s becomes a sh. Studieren. Okay, so if a word begins with st, then it is sh or st. So what is the word for language? Louder. No. No. Yeah, SP. SP in the beginning of a word, not sp, but sp. Sprache. Okay, Sprache. So ST and SP, this combination, if a word begins with that, it's a sh. Student, studieren, Sprache, sprechen. Okay. Similarly, der Stuhl. Der Stuhl is a chair. Der Stuhl. Die Stühle. Die Stühle. Der Stuhl, die Stühle. So, to cut a long story short, I think the picture on the board makes it clear that basically, please make it a habit to learn any new noun with its gender and its plural. I would learn the vocabulary that we did today in class as der Tisch, die Tische, das Buch, die Bücher, die Lampe, die Lampen, der Laptop, die Laptops, der Stuhl, die Stühle, die Uhr, die Uhren. Okay, that's the way it needs to be imprinted in the early stages. Once that happens, see, no language is entirely arbitrary. If a language were entirely arbitrary, you wouldn't have a language. Okay, then each person would make up her or his own rules every time they spoke. That's not possible. So there are patterns. There are patterns even in German. There are patterns which you can recognize. When you have sufficient vocabulary, you can recognize the patterns that plurals are made following certain conventions, following certain patterns. Some books might also give you rules. Some books might say there are 12 different rules or 14 different rules of making the plural. There is no point in learning that. Instead, you learn 50 words. That will be more useful than learning 14 rules. Okay. Please learn the gender and the plural along with the new noun every time. I don't know whether you remember that at one point in time there was a Volkswagen ad which ended with Volkswagen das Auto. I think most of you might remember that. Actually, it is the gender of Auto. Das Auto is the car. Okay, das Auto. From nouns, then we come to pronouns. I think ich, du, er, sie, es, and the big Z. You're familiar with that. Ich, wir, du, ihr, and er, sie, es is Z. This we already done. Er, sie, es is Z. We saw in the example with nouns and plurals. The big Z, which is the formal you, which is like in Hindi the aap, that can be used for singular or plural, which basically means if we are talking to each other formally, then I can address one person saying we heißen Sie, Lalita, or I can address all of you saying welche Sprachen sprechen Sie? Alle, all of you. So that Z can be used for one person or for many persons. Okay. Not the case with do. If we are at an informal level, then I would ask, wie heißt du? Akash. But if I am to address all of you together, I would use ihr. Welche Sprachen sprecht ihr? Okay. Welche Sprachen sprecht ihr? Woher kommt ihr? I think it's time to do a song. Ich komme aus Bonn. Yeah. No, I also have, we'll play it in class and maybe we'll make, how many of you sing? Nobody sings? Yeah, then everyone has to sing. This is the complete so-called conjugation table that we need to again have learnt. I mean, there is nothing to be explained here apart from what this is. Can somebody say what this is?
These are verb conjugations.
These are verb
Like
conjugations.
when you want to say I am coming or you are coming, like
Yeah.
like that. So with different persons, you'll have different endings.
Yeah. So, why is that important?
When you're speaking, you should know what to say.
When you speak?
You should know which form of the verb to use.
Yeah. So, for different persons, we use different forms. I mean, the verb has different forms, and when we learn a new verb, we also learn its conjugation. Okay. Or let's say not that, but when we speak, when we make a sentence, we are describing something that happens or something that is, which means there is a verb there, and that verb we have to know which form it has to take. If I am talking about myself, then it's a certain form. I am talking about you, it's a certain form. He, she, it, certain form. If we are all saying that we learn German, it's a certain form, etc., etc. Okay. I have said this before, but again, if you take most verbs in English, I have only he, she, it is usually with an S. Okay. If you just take the verb to read, for example, I read, you read, we read, they read, he, she, it reads. That's the only different form. Okay. In German, there are more forms, and this is the standard conjugation table. The endings are clearly marked on the right side. That is the way the regular verbs will work. All the three verbs are okay. Gehen is to arbeiten, to work, and lernen is to learn. What is happening is you're cutting out the en at the end and taking the root of the verb, and then you're applying the endings to that root. Where the root ends with T, then you add an extra E so that you can separate the two T's that you would have to otherwise use. Okay, that's why it is Ich arbeite, but du arbeitst is a little difficult to say. Du arbeitest, sie es arbeitet, wir arbeiten, ihr arbeitet, sie arbeiten. Okay. Lernen is simple. Ich lerne, du lernst, sie es lernt, wir lernen, ihr lernt, sie lernen. Okay. Gehen, can somebody conjugate gehen here in class? You can take a minute to write it down if you need to, and then, yeah.
Ich gehe, du gehst, sie ist, geht, wir gehen, ihr geht, sie gehen.
Yeah, sie.
Gehen.
We can G-E-H-E-N, the her sound has to be little subdued. Gehen, not gehen, but gehen. The others are perfect. Ich gehe, du gehst, not gehst, du gehst. Geht, wir gehen, ihr geht, sie gehen. Then verb conjugation is something that you will have to also learn. I might as well mention right here that as you see there is a pattern in which verbs are conjugated, right? There is a pattern which we have seen here, and I said that this is the pattern that the regular verbs will follow. Now if you have a term called regular verbs, then it implies that there are irregular verbs, which is also the case in several languages. So there are irregular verbs in German as well, for which there will be slightly different ways of conjugating the verb. Mostly what will happen is that the verb every verb will have a vowel. Like common, for example, has the O as the vowel, or lernen has E as the vowel, root vowel. What is the verb for to speak? Sprechen. What is the question that we ask?
Welche Sprachen sprichst du?
Welche?
Sprachen sprichst du?
Yeah, we say do. The verb itself is sprechen. Du. Sprichst. Yeah, du sprichst. But ich spreche, no change in ich. Wir sprechen Deutsch, no change. Du sprichst. Sie, no, sie in the sense you. Sprechen. Okay, so we have our conjugation as ich spreche, du sprichst, sie, es spricht, wir sprechen, ihr sprecht, and sie sprechen. This would be the entire conjugation table for sprechen, which is to speak. Clear? As you can clearly see that this is the only irregularity in the entire conjugation. Otherwise, this is exactly like lernen. Ich lerne, du lernst, lernt, wir lernen, ihr lernt, sie lernen. But only for do and there is a change in the vowel. And that change will be the same for both do and every time a verb is irregular, or every verb that is irregular. Okay, so that's the only thing that happens. The vowel changes mostly. How do we deal with it? Yeah.
What's the difference between the small z at the end and small z, like along with air?
What is the difference? Yeah. This word, this z is she, he, she, it, she. This is they, and this is you, but formal, respectful. Okay. There are three z's, I agree, but you will clearly notice which z is meant. Okay, because first of all, the verb will be conjugated differently. If the verb is ending in a T, then obviously it is she. Otherwise, you're stuck with either they or you. Okay, now normally these words are not going to float in isolation somewhere and you decide it's they or you. They will be part of a sentence. The sentence will be part of a paragraph. The paragraph will be part of a text. So there's always a context. From the context, it becomes very clear what it is. Okay. So, for example, very quickly, I'll just do this Sie sprechen. We'll do a nice word for Französisch. Französisch. What is Französisch? French. Okay. Französisch. Sie sprechen Französisch. Now, if this sentence is there in isolation, floating around somewhere, without any head or tail, with no context, then the ambiguity is not resolved. What does this mean? Does this mean they are speaking French, or does this mean you are speaking French? That is not resolved because this S has to be capital, since it's the first word of the sentence, and then we know that the conjugation of they and the formal you is the same, but that will almost never happen, because there will be, in fact that will never happen, because the use of a pronoun actually means that there is a context in which the noun has already appeared. I am doing this sentence because actually in one stupid test this sentence was given to translate. Okay, and then you have to agree that the translation can be both will be correct. You speak French or they speak French, both are right. Okay, but that is the only situation in which that ambiguity cannot be resolved. Otherwise, there are enough indicators for us to tell which Z it is. Is that clear? Okay. The last element for today that we are going to do is actually there are two of them. I hope I can quickly go through both within. It's not very difficult, but I'm taking you back to the first things that we learnt to introduce ourselves. Okay, so could we have one volunteer asking me all the questions that we learnt?
Wie heißt du?
Ich heiße Milind.
Woher kommst du?
Ich komme aus Pune.
Wo wohnst du?
Ich wohne in Chennai.
Welche Sprachen sprechen Sie?
Ich spreche Marathi, Hindi, Englisch und Deutsch.
Was sind deine Hobbys?
Meine Hobbys sind Facebooken, WhatsAppen. Ich habe noch kein Instagram, aber ja. Meine Hobbys sind, aber ich spiele auch Basketball, ich sehe gern Filme, ich lese gern Bücher.
Wie ist dein Handynummer?
Wie ist deine Handynummer? Always concerned with identity. Wie ist dein Name? Wie ist deine Adresse? Wie ist deine Handynummer, telephone number, whatever it is. Okay, so wie. But the demo is done. If you look at all the questions that were asked, what was the first word? The beginning of letter of the first word, W. What's the letter W? Way. Okay. So das sind alle Fragen. Fragen. Okay. Frage is a question and Fragen is questions. Fragen. W questions. Wie ist dein Name? Woher kommst du? Wo wohnst du? Was sind deine Hobbys? Welche Sprachen sprichst du? Etc. 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 Since we have done numbers, you can also take one more W question, which is wie alt bist du? Wie alt bist du? Ich bin 50. Ich bin 50. Wie alt bist du? Wie alt bist du? 18. It's a huge difference. The difference is 62 years. Okay. 80 and 18. Okay. So, wie alt bist du is also one more question you can write down later on. And you can just say the number. That's enough. That's a sufficient answer. Ich bin 50. Okay. So, all these are W questions. Fragen. Okay. But there is also another way. Is your name Rekha? No, English. I was not talking English. No. Is your name Lalita? Yes. Are you from Delhi? Do you speak Chinese? Do you speak Hindi? So, what kind of a question is this? It's a yes/no question. And what is happening in the yes/no question? It is not beginning with a W word, but it's beginning with what actually? Is, do you, are. What is this? It's the verb. It begins with the verb. Okay. Ja, nein, fragen. We have fragen. We have ja, nein, fragen. Ja is yes, nein is no. Ja, nein, fragen. First listen. You will have time to write. It's really, if you're teaching a language, I really like the way you're sitting in class. That's the way to sit. Really, don't get conscious of it now. But just fold your hands and listen to what is happening. If there is time, it's a very terrible sight to look at students buried in their notebooks and writing something while I am trying to speak. Okay. Fragen und ja, nein, fragen. Okay. Wie heißt du ist eine W-Frage. Das ist eine W-Frage. Heißt du Maria? If I ask heißt du Maria, the answer would have to begin with, if I ask heißt du Rekha? Nein. The answer would have to begin with either ja or nein. So it's a ja. And the structure is clear in front of you. It has no W word. It begins with the verb. Heißt du Maria? Ja, ich heiße Maria. Or nein, ich heiße something else. Wohnt in Paphos? Wo ist Paphos? I have no clue where Paphos is, but wohnt in Paphos? Wohnt in Chennai? Nein, wohnt in Hyderabad. Kommen Sie aus England? Kommen Sie aus England? Nein, ich komme aus Indien. Okay. Or ist das richtig? Richtig? Is that right? Is it correct? Ja, that's richtig. So, basic form of yes no question. And as you can easily make out, the reply to any of these questions would have to begin with either a ja or a nein. And then the rest of it can follow. This question we know. Was trinken Sie gern? Is clear? Yeah.
So what's the difference between was and we?
In German, there is a difference between was and we. In English also there is a difference, just like the difference between what and how. Okay. But it is not a one-to-one correspondence between English and German. It is not as if every time we use what in English, we have to use was in German. The two languages are different. Okay. So, some of the expressions which in English are with what, in German they are with we and not with what. That's a language specific difference. Okay. So, was trinken Sie gern is clear. It means what do you like to drink. How would you ask, do you like to drink, let's say, juice, or do you drink juice, do you drink coffee?
Drinks you soft.
Okay. No, we'll keep to this. Or coffee? How would you say this sentence? Little louder.
Trinken Sie Kaffee.
Yeah, trinken Sie Kaffee. It's a question, no? A question, the tone always rises at the end. Trinken Sie Kaffee. Heißt du Lalita? Trinken Sie Kaffee? Yeah, ich trinke Kaffee. In a statement it falls, the tone falls. Okay, standard difference. So trinken Sie Saft? Trinken Sie Kaffee? It is, tone is rising, right? Suppose I just change the punctuation. How would you say this?
Trinken Sie Kaffee. Trinken Sie Kaffee.
No, I can still hear it rising. It's still a question. It's German. Be a little more authoritative in the way of saying it. Correct. If the tone is different, the same yes no question can become a command. Trinken Sie Kaffee? Ja oder nein? Yes, no, yes, no. But trinken Sie Kaffee? No, yes, no, no. You better drink it. I mean, I'll put a gun to your head and say, trinken Sie Kaffee? Okay. So, if I put it politely with intonation and all that, it means it's a question and you have to say yes or no. If I don't intone it that way, it means it's not a question. You better drink it. Okay. So, this is called an imperative. Something is imperative means you have to do it, no? Imperative basically in English grammar it's a request or a command. Okay. So, very simple. A yes no question and the imperative in German have the same structure, only the intonation is different. Okay. So, as I said, trinken Sie Kaffee is yes or no. Trinken Sie Kaffee means shut up and drink the coffee. Okay. Yeah, with that, I'm done.